Numbers are in, and some people might think that this is a tier 0 format. Our Lightsworn deck box is now up, and the first batch is going to come with the Field Center. Now, honestly, I do think that this design is relatively amazing, especially when you get into the inside works here with the Minerva. And then the outside, going to be the front, the top, and the back. And this is honestly a phenomenal piece. So leave a link down below so you guys can grab yours today. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. I love statistics and data out here. And then I'll also read my comment section for people going, no, these numbers don't mean anything. All right, well, first of all, make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. There will be exceptions to every rule. There's why there's so many diverse rogue picks out here that you can play right now and do well with here. But I wanted to get visual representation here up and running from Super Polito here, just to kind of showcase what in the world's going on here. And your most represented deck out of the entire span of regionals that we had last weekend was 58 Fire Kings in total. Now, before you're like, oh my gosh, you know, it's just unknown over there on the flowchart. There was one regional that has no data on it, all right? Don't worry about that, all right? When you've got another 13 events to check for things out here, you're just going to be adding into the overall flow of this. So 33% of your meta is dedicated strictly to Fire King variants. Wow. You know, I'm not surprised to know that Fire King is the better representative across the board here. Like, it made sense. Like, the deck is incredibly strong. I think a lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's like week one of set release out here. You know how many people have their stuff week one, or they go to an event and just pick up everything that they're going to need to be able to play? A lot. Now, on the heels of this was Snake Eyes at a 9.7% representation with 17. So that is pure Snake Eyes. So if you're looking at fire overall between the Fire King variants and the Snake Eyes variants, you're sitting on a 42% representation. You're almost, like what, 7-8% off, give or take a little bit here from being classified as a 50% format. And that's where people kind of start to go, well, you know, it's are we going into a tier 0 format here? No. At most, I would say that Fire feels on the upper. Obviously, like, the way I view the game is like you have high tier 1, low tier 1. That's why like I'll go like 1.5 and like tier 1. But if you want to make an argument for Fire, you could almost say that Fire is pushing into like tier 0.75. Like, you're clearly the best tier 1 deck in the room. Like, nobody's arguing that. It's just when in comparison to the rest of the tier 1 landscape out here, you know, does the deck, I mean, it does kind of dominate the rest. Obviously, Snake Eyes tries to break that mold a little bit. Same thing with Kashtira, but that's kind of what you're looking at right now. So, for anybody's like, oh, it's a tier 0 format, no, you just have a very, very strong top contender that isn't unbeatable. Like, if this deck was unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination, you would not see the rogue pie chart on the rest of the side over here, you know, showcasing all of these different meta challengers kind of coming in here. Now, Kashtira had an 8% representation over the weekend here. So what in the world does that actually mean for us? Cash has been the best mid-range control deck that I feel like you can kind of come up with at the moment. Yes, they don't have the big auto exceeds broken machine, sure, but what the deck does have is it has Unicorn Fenrir. Fenrir controls the field. Dimension Shifter helps you do your thing. Though some of these fire decks are now adapting towards Fucho to kind of dodge the BS that is, you know, Dimensional Shifter. But I think, obviously, like, also this deck now has draw options. So, I mean, technically, it comes down to how many hand traps can I throw at you. Because an Ash, a Veiler, and a Droll might actually get you there. But the problem is, that's 3 hand traps that you got to see. Ghost Bell's also a very good card. I saw a little bit of discussion, I think, for Ogre, but I don't think Ogre is good right now. But people are going to try, these different sorts of ideas to push that. So, yes, I think that's interesting. Now, Voiceless voiced with 8% representation as well. Voiceless and Kashtira both being tied here. Voiceless is the new deck on the block. Now, obviously, you can make an argument and say, well, Voiceless is getting overshadowed by Fire. Yeah, what isn't getting overshadowed by Fire at this point, to be honest with you? But also a lot more people are turned away from Voiceless, seeing, low hit, like a $70 price point. So I get it. All right, like, it's a little bit rough out here, at least in that department. So I'm glad to see that Voiceless Voice had a very strong early representation out of the gate. I think it's good. Now, Branded coming up back here on the back end of this. I did not expect to see huge Branded representation, but deck actually did it. Surprisingly. Good stuff. I mean, Super Poly is a heck of a card, man. Like, if you've not played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! In, like, the last year, you wouldn't understand what I mean when I say Super Poly is a heck of a card. Because it's just like, hey, I just had a friend that just went to Locals last night, and he was telling me, he's like, Robbie, I won Locals. He was like, yeah, against the Fire player, I opened Super Poly 3 games in a row. I was like, yeah, sometimes it just be like that, Sometimes all your problems just get super polyed away. Rescue Ace coming up with a 4% representation with 7 builds in general. I'm not really surprised about that either, honestly. Like, Rescue Ace did feel like it just waved off into the back, but like the set 4 combo, it just gets outgrinded a little bit easier. And that's a little bit of our problem right now, is just like, if your deck gets grinded out, you have a tough time. Mana Diem, yeah, I'm not surprised about that either. This deck's combo gas potential, you just sit here like combo. Oh, it's 10 minutes left in the round. Combo. Oh, okay, your turn with 30 seconds on the timer with like full board. And that's what I feel like when I play against Mana Diem. Like, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's just my personal experience. Now, Flunderies only had 5 in the top cut. Now, Robbie, you said that Flunder was supposed to be a very good deck out here. What's like July to us? No. I think right now, Flu is a very, very safe bet. I've seen a lot of Flu, especially through like the localized events out here. Flu is an insane metagame pick. And, I mean, you got the new support card that just helps you continuously dodge. Thanks, Konami. Really needed that. And then, of course, the field spell dodges. It's just end-pen control at this point. It's just I want to say it feels like a very mid-range control deck, but that's not really the case, because it's just Apex, end-pen, Floodgates. I do my job. Tier with 5. Now, my comment section also told me, Robbie, you said Tier is a rogue deck now. Well, actually, if you're looking at the data and statistics out here, I'm only seeing 5 tier decks in a metagame field, and it looks like it's a 2.8% representation of your overall field. I would say that would, in fact, put it in the rogue category, as it does not have large numbers to compete with the other large percentiles that are presented in this chart. I hope you enjoyed that, because that's what it feels like some days. So, real talk about tier. RNG. I actually just saw somebody on Twitter did a flow chart talking about like certain decks that have good matchups, other decks don't have good matchups. Tier's matchups depend on its RNG, which is the most gosh darn truthful thing I've ever heard. Like, Tier inherently doesn't have like a crazy good matchup across the board. It's just it tries to utilize and do everything, which puts it on a randomizer to try to get things going. Purely back here with 2.3%. Am I surprised about that? No, I don't think I am. Dragon Link, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players aren't going to let that go. And then Vanquish Soul back here as well. Now, what about all the other little inverted parts of the pie chart here, Robbie? Well, that's called the Other Land, and I do want to point out that there are plenty of decks right now that you can actually top with. I believe overall you've probably got a span of, once again, 20 decks that you can enter into an event with and potentially do well, top 8, but a lot of it does come down to RNG and a lot of skill in your matchups that you need to grind through now. And a lot of diversity might make people not like this format because, you know, you go into a format, you're teched out for fire and you just don't play fire. I know it's strange that could actually happen. Yeah, I guess that's the problem of a diverse format, but having all these decks we can actually counter fire with, I think is good. Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out.
Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.